Welcome to my channel, Old Valuable Chiller, where today we will dive deep into the history, details, and value of the Kennedy half-dollar coin from the United States, specifically the 1985p half-dollar minted in Philadelphia. If you are a coin collector, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about United States coins, you are in the right place. The 1985p Kennedy half-dollar is one of those coins that may seem ordinary at first glance, yet when you look closer, it tells an incredible story about American history, coinage, design, minting techniques, and the world of numismatics. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, created as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. The design was quickly approved, and it became one of the most iconic coins in United States history. The obverse features the portrait of President John F. Kennedy designed by Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse showcases the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparro, with the eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. By 1985, this design had already been in circulation for more than 2 decades, but the coin remained a strong part of American currency and coin collecting. Now, the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar minted in Philadelphia, marked with the letter P, is struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition. This means it has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. The coin has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a thickness of 2.15 millimeters, and a weight of 11.34 grams. These specifications make it consistent with other modern half-dollars produced after the transition away from silver coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of these 1985 half-dollars, which makes them common in circulation. However, for collectors, condition, strike quality, and errors can make a huge difference in value. Circulated examples are typically worth face value, 50 cents, but uncirculated or mint state coins can attract premiums, especially when graded at higher levels. Collectors often look for sharp details in Kennedy's hair, a strong strike on the eagle's feathers, and a bright original luster. One of the key points about the 1985p Kennedy half-dollar is its availability in both circulation strike and mint set versions. Coins pulled directly from mint sets often retain their original brilliance and higher detail compared to coins found in everyday change. For collectors seeking top-quality examples, mint set coins are the best starting point. Error coins from 1985 also draw attention. Some known errors include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double dies, and coins with weak strikes. These mint errors can significantly increase the value depending on rarity and visual appeal. Collectors searching rolls or bags of half-dollars sometimes come across these interesting error coins, making the hunt for the 1985p Kennedy half-dollar exciting. In terms of value, the majority of 1985p Kennedy half-dollars in circulated condition are only worth face value, but uncirculated examples graded mint state 65 or higher may be worth a few dollars. The highest grade examples can reach higher values at auctions, depending on eye appeal, strike quality, and demand among collectors. Proof versions were struck in San Francisco with the S mint mark, but Philadelphia only produced business strikes. The Kennedy half-dollar remains popular not only because of its connection to President Kennedy, but also because it has become an essential series for collectors. Completing a Kennedy half-dollar collection means paying attention to each mint mark and year, and the 1985p is one piece of that puzzle. Even though it may not be the rarest date, it holds historical importance as part of the mid-1980s coinage from a United States mint. Another reason collectors are drawn to the 1985p half-dollar is the overall beauty of the design. Gilroy Roberts' portrait of Kennedy has stood the test of time and remains one of the most recognizable images on American coinage. Many collectors who started as children remember finding half-dollars in circulation, and that nostalgia adds personal value to owning coins like the 1985p Kennedy half-dollar. For anyone interested in investing in coins, the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar should be seen more as a collector's item than an investment piece. Its base metal composition means it does not have intrinsic silver value like the 1964 half-dollar or the 40% silver coins issued between 1965 and 1970. Instead, its worth comes from condition, rarity in high grades, and collector demand. That said, building a complete Kennedy half-dollar set that includes the 1985p can be a rewarding challenge for numismatists. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 18 million Kennedy half-dollars in 1985, making them widely available. Still, coins in pristine mint state condition, especially with grades above MS66, are much scarcer. Collectors often submit these coins for grading to third-party services, seeking to preserve and certify their condition. A certified high-grade 1985p Kennedy half-dollar can sometimes fetch premium prices in the numismatic market. When examining your own 1985 half-dollar, it is important to look for details that set it apart. Pay attention to the strike quality, surface luster, and any unusual features that could indicate an error or variety. Even subtle differences can add collector interest. For example, some collectors report finding slight die cracks or doubling on certain 1985p half-dollars, which, while not officially recognized as major varieties, can still attract attention among specialists. As we continue exploring the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar, it's clear that this coin embodies much more than its face value. It represents a continuation of the Kennedy legacy, a reflection of American coinage in the 1980s, and a reminder of the artistry and craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. Even though millions were struck, each coin tells its own story depending on how it has circulated, how it has been preserved, and how it fits into a collection. For collectors today, owning a 1985p Kennedy half-dollar is about connecting with history. Whether you found it in your change, purchased it from a dealer, or discovered it in a mint set, it is part of the larger story of American money. Coin collecting is not just about value, it's about history, design, and the satisfaction of preserving small pieces of the past. So if you are building your Kennedy half-dollar collection, make sure to include the 1985p half-dollar from Philadelphia. It may not be rare, but it is an essential coin that carries both historical and collectible significance. Keep an eye out for coins in the best condition possible, look for interesting errors, and enjoy the journey of numismatics. First up in today's video, we are going to explore in detail the 5-cent coin 2000D from the United States, also known as the Jefferson Nickel. This coin is a very interesting piece for coin collectors, numismatists, and anyone who appreciates United States coinage. The 2000D Jefferson Nickel carries not just monetary value but also historical significance, collectible appeal, and a story that connects back to American coinage history. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse side. On the reverse side, you will see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, which is a classic architectural symbol tied closely to his legacy. This design continued for decades, with some modifications in the 2000s. But the year 2000D stands out as part of the modern Jefferson Nickel series before the major design changes of 2004 and 2005, which honored the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. When we talk about the 2000D nickel, the D mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint is one of the most important United States mint facilities, producing millions of coins each year for circulation. The mintage for the 2000D 5-cent coin was very high, which means it is commonly found in circulation, yet collectors still seek out higher-grade examples or rare errors from this year. The obverse of the 2000D Jefferson Nickel shows the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. Around the edge, you can read the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2000. The mint mark D4 Denver is placed to the right of Jefferson's portrait. The reverse features the famous Monticello building with the words E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The design is clean, classic, and highly recognizable as part of American coinage. Collectors of the 2000D Jefferson Nickel often pay attention to condition. Circulated examples are quite common and usually only hold face value, but uncirculated coins, especially those graded by professional grading services, can carry higher premiums. Coins in mint state with grades such as MS65, MS66, or above are considered attractive and collectible. For example, in mint condition with sharp details and brilliant luster, the 2000D 5-cent coin can be worth more than just its face value, especially to collectors who want to complete Jefferson Nickel sets. Another aspect that makes the 2000D Jefferson Nickel interesting is the possibility of error coins. Minting errors such as double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or misaligned dies can make these coins more valuable. Collectors often search through rolls of nickels looking for such unique varieties. Even a small error can significantly increase the coin's worth. Some error nickels from the year 2000 have sold for much higher than face value. Let's talk about the mintage numbers. In 2000, the Denver Mint produced over 2 billion Jefferson nickels. This high mintage means the coin is not rare in general circulation, but the value lies in its condition, rarity of certain die varieties, and collectible demand. For example, most circulated examples are worth 5 cents, but high-grade coins, proof-like strikes, or error varieties can be valued by collectors much more highly. If you are collecting United States nickels, the 2000D is an essential part of completing a modern Jefferson nickel set. Many coin collectors enjoy creating date and mint mark sets, and having both the Philadelphia Mint 2000P nickel and the Denver Mint 2000D nickel is important. Together, they represent the coinage of that year and reflect the production of both major mints. It's also worth mentioning the composition of the 2000D Jefferson nickel. Like other modern nickels, it is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This copper-nickel alloy gives the coin its distinctive color and durability. The coin weighs 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, with a plain edge. These specifications have been standard for the Jefferson nickel for decades, making it one of the most consistent coins in United States circulation. When considering the collectible value of the 2000D nickel, you also need to think about coin grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless example. A 2000D nickel in average circulation might grade between very fine, VF, to extremely fine, XF, but uncirculated coins, especially those in mint state grades like MS65 or MS66, are much harder to find in circulation. These higher grade coins are what collectors truly prize. For those who enjoy coin roll hunting, nickels are one of the best denominations to search. The 2000D Jefferson nickel shows up frequently, but it's always exciting to find one in excellent condition or with an unusual error. Coin roll hunting has become very popular among hobbyists, as it allows collectors to search through everyday coins for hidden treasures. The historical background of the Jefferson nickel adds depth to the 2000D issue. Thomas Jefferson was not only the author of the Declaration of Independence and the third U.S. president, but also a visionary thinker, inventor, and founder of the University of Virginia. His home, Monticello, was a symbol of his creativity and design. By placing Jefferson and Monticello on the nickel, the United States Mint honored his contributions to American history and culture. For long-term collectors, nickels like the 2000D also provide a glimpse into the transitional period of U.S. coinage. Just a few years later, in 2004 and 2005, the Mint released the Westward Journey nickels, with new designs commemorating the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Then in 2006, a new forward-facing Jefferson portrait was introduced. This means the 2000D nickel belongs to the final years of the classic Jefferson design before major changes arrived. In terms of market value, circulated 2000D Jefferson nickels usually trade for face value, but mint state examples can range from a small premium up to several dollars depending on grade. Certified high-grade coins, particularly those graded MS67 or higher, can sell for even more at auctions. Error varieties, as mentioned earlier, can sell for significantly higher prices, depending on rarity and demand. If you are new to coin collecting, the 2000D nickel is a great starting point. It is affordable, easy to find, and helps you understand how mint marks, mintage, and condition affect coin values. For experienced collectors, it is a necessary piece for completing a Jefferson nickel date and mint set, and it provides opportunities for searching high-grade examples or rare errors. The 5-cent coin 2000D from the United States is more than just pocket change. It represents history, art, and the legacy of Thomas Jefferson. With billions minted, it remains accessible to everyone, but its collectible value comes from condition, rarity, and the stories behind it. Whether you are searching through coin rolls, adding to your collection, or simply learning more about American coinage, the 2000D Jefferson nickel has a place in the numismatic world. Welcome to this video where we explore the fascinating story, history, and value of the 1944 1-cent coin from the United States, also known as the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This coin is one of the most famous American pennies ever minted, and it continues to attract attention from collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts around the world. The 1944 1-cent coin is part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features the iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, giving the series its nickname, the Wheat Penny. The 1944 1-cent coin holds a special place in American numismatic history because it was struck during World War II, a time when the United States Mint made important changes to coinage due to wartime shortages. In 1943, the penny was struck in steel coated with zinc instead of the usual copper, because copper was needed for the war effort. However, the steel cents rusted and were not popular with the public. In 1944, The mint returned to using a copper alloy made from recycled shell casings from the war. This gives the 1944 penny its distinctive story, as it represents a return to copper coinage after the steel experiment. Many collectors call it the shell case cent because of its connection to wartime materials. Now let's talk about the details of the 1944 1-cent coin. The obverse side shows the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word liberty on the left and the motto "In God We Trust" above his head. The date, 1944, appears on the right side, and below it you may find a mint mark if the coin was struck in Denver or San Francisco. Coins with no mint mark were minted in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, we see the classic wheat ears on both sides, the denomination 1 cent in the center, and the words United States of America below. At the top is the motto E pluribus unum. This simple but powerful design is admired by collectors for its beauty and symbolism. The 1944 penny was struck in huge numbers, so it is a common date in the Lincoln wheat cent series. In Philadelphia alone, over 1.4 billion coins were minted. In Denver, more than 430 million were produced, and in San Francisco, around 282 million coins came out. This means the 1944 cent is not rare in circulated condition. However, certain varieties and errors can make specific coins extremely valuable. The most famous of these is the 1944 steel cent. A small number of leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally used in 1944, creating the rare 1944 steel penny. These coins are highly sought after and can sell for tens of thousands or even over $100,000, depending on condition. Another variety to look for is the 1944 D over S mint mark error, where a Denver mint mark was struck over San Francisco mint mark. This variety is rare and collectible, making it worth significantly more than the regular issue. Now let's consider the value of the 1944 1-cent coin. In circulated condition, most 1944 pennies are worth only a few cents, since so many were minted. However, uncirculated examples with full original luster can be worth a few dollars, and high-grade specimens certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC can sell for much more. A 1944 penny in mint state 65 condition, for example, can be worth around $10 to $20, depending on the mint mark. If the coin has exceptional eye appeal, bright red coloration, or is free from contact marks, it can command higher prices. Special varieties like the 1944 steel cent or the 1944 D over S mint mark error are worth far more, sometimes reaching thousands of dollars at auction. Collectors love the 1944 penny not only for its historical significance but also for its role in completing a wheat cent collection. The coin's connection to World War II and the return to copper gives it a story that makes it more than just a piece of change. Holding a 1944 penny can make you imagine the history of that time, when Americans were united in the war effort and every resource was precious. The use of recycled shell casings is a reminder of how even coins were linked to the sacrifices made during the war. When collecting 1944 1-cent coins, it is important to examine the coin carefully. Look at the details on Lincoln's portrait, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the overall color and luster of the coin. Red coins, meaning those with their original copper color, are more valuable than brown or toned coins. Also, check for mint marks and possible varieties. If you believe you may have a rare steel penny or a D over S variety, it is wise to have it authenticated by a reputable grading service. The 1944 penny is also a great starting point for new collectors because it is affordable, easy to find, and full of history. Many people remember finding these coins in circulation decades ago, and today they are often passed down in family collections. For serious numismatists, searching for rare errors and high-grade specimens can be a rewarding pursuit. For casual collectors, simply owning a 1944 penny is like owning a piece of American history. As we talk about the 1944 penny, it's worth mentioning its place within the larger Lincoln wheat cent series. From 1909 to 1958, the wheat ears reverse was used, and many dates and mint marks are highly collectible. Within that series, the 1944 penny stands out for its connection to wartime history and for the excitement it brings when collectors search for rare varieties. While most examples are common, the possibility of finding a rare steel penny keeps the 1944 cent in the spotlight. In conclusion, the 1944 1-cent coin from the United States is more than just a small copper coin. It represents history, sacrifice, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Whether you are interested in its historical background, its design features, its mintage numbers, or its collectible value, the 1944 penny has something to offer everyone. It is a coin that bridges the gap between everyday pocket change and the larger story of America during World War II. Collectors continue to seek it out, investors value its potential in rare varieties, and history lovers appreciate the story it tells.